Hello and welcome to Creating Personal Magic Global event, bringing together master metaphysicians, quantum wellness engineers, and embodied conduits of divine creative power to share their experience and expertise in navigating the seemingly impossible for personal transformation and evolutionary wellness. I'm your host for this event, Michelle King, and oh my goodness, I am so excited and honored to welcome today energy medicine woman Titanya Dahlin. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, I am thrilled to be here, Michelle. What a wonderful summit to be on.
Thank you. And we'll be exploring Synchronize with the planet's life color to break through your own obstacles and fulfill your greatest desires. But before we immerse ourselves in the color, we are going to share a little bit more about Titanya. She is one of the leading life color aura experts in the world. As a third generational intuitive healer, she is the daughter of energy medicine pioneer Donna Eden. She has grown up knowing firsthand about the language of energy, and she has taught energy medicine classes internationally right beside her mother for the last 25 years. And since 2006, she found her intuitive calling, reading the vibrational aura colors of hundreds of clients around the world, guiding them on their life's journey. She's also creator of Energy Medicine Dance, bringing conscious movement through energy medicine dance, and the 5 elements to move stuck energy and break through transitions in life. She also specializes in energy medicine for kids and creating sacred ceremony for family bonding. This is all so fascinating to me. I feel like I could interview you all day about everything.
Yes, I'm a multitude fascinated woman taking from all different areas to create what I want to share with the world, for sure.
That's wonderful. So again, we're talking about Synchronize with the planet's life color to break through your own obstacles and fulfill your greatest desires. So I guess before we go into that, would you mind sharing your version or your definition of creating personal magic?
Creating personal magic. Well, I think that it goes into my topic that I'm going to be discussing today very much, because one of the places that we are in the world right now, where in our global consciousness, we are sitting in an energy that is about the lesson of letting go of all the old systems that haven't worked and stepping into a new. Right now, we're sitting in the age of indigo, which I am going to be talking about a little bit more, a life color that surrounds the whole planet. But we also have life colors within ourselves too. Creating personal magic, I think, is really about putting in your desires, your intentions, your wishes, and then you have to kind of let that go, not stay so stuck on something that you cannot move the energy around it. And I think for a long time, one of the things I'm going to be talking about is one of my near-death experiences, that I was in fertility issues about 17 years, and I could not move from the place of, I want a child coming through my own body, and this is the way it's going to be. And because I was so stuck in that place, I couldn't move into a possibility of something greater until I had to be faced with my own lesson and the global lesson at that time in my life, which was about letting go. And then I just kind of dawned on me when I started letting go of that which I put into the universe, the wishing upon a star, the desire, the intention. Then you let it go. And that's when more energy comes forth in order to make your greatest wishes come true. And mine did. I'm on to other wishes now, but mine did, which was a child. It was so hard in my near-death experience because I was also a Middle Eastern dancer. For me, a professional Middle Eastern dancer traveling around the world for about 30 years, teaching women about their own divine femininity and power, and knowing that the belly dance was a birth ritual, and allowing those natural places in the body of movement in order to have a child, in order to sync with that child's energy to bring it in. So I was getting women pregnant all over the world with dance, and then all of a sudden came in, which usually happens with a lot of people who are seeking. Sometimes that lesson and challenge comes in on something that you're so good at with others, and then you are faced with something, and then you have to work with it. And so creating personal magic, I think one of the key aspects, I believe, is really about releasing and letting go and seeing what the universe has in store for you. Because I think that, yes, we have a life plan that we are following, but as well, there is a support from the universe, whether you call it angels, guides, your own God, whomever that is. There is a little bit of a supportive path that if you are allowed to let go, you can even step into something greater than you ever thought could be possible. So that's a big answer, but that's what I believe.
It's a pretty potent and powerful example and exploration of your own personal story. And I think too that gives people the opportunity to shift perspective and kind of invite them also to release and let go and know that they can trust themselves in this intuitive process of whatever it is in their life that they're wanting to create and shape for themselves. So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
So what are life colors and how did you discover them?
All right. Well, life colors, they are my passion in life, is life colors. And I really believe so. I believe they just kind of came into my world and just took hold of me and said, this is what you're going to do, because I was not on that path. In my mother's classes, my mother is Donna Eden. She's holistic health pioneer of energy medicine. I've been sitting in her classes and knowing about her work because I'm her daughter, so I was raised in it. But when I was sitting in our classes, all the teachers would, every single time she would talk about life colors, we were fascinated and we started writing, and everybody loves color in their world. It just makes the world a happier place. But we started writing all about the colors. And I never knew that it would be something that I would step into until it just all of a sudden took me by the hand and said, it just opened up for me one day when one of the lessons in my life, now I'm a blue and a red life color. And one of the lessons about blues is that they really hear the cries of the world. It's like a compassionate mother who is always saying, oh, what do you need now? Oh, my child, this child needs this, and this child needs that. And like an octopus, their energy goes everywhere in order to take care of their family or their spouse, and not much with themselves. So that lesson about saying yes to yourself is a big one with blue life colors. And so in that time, I was hearing everybody's cries. And so after a workshop one day, a woman came up to my table, and I was selling a lot of my mother's energy medicine tools. And she said, oh my goodness, your mother wrote this in my book, this color that I am, and I don't know where to find it. And something kind of came through me, and like with glazed eyes, I said, I'll tell you what that means. Let's set up an appointment today. And I just came out of it after she walked away, and I went, oh my God, what did I do? What did I say? I have no idea what this color of dusty rose means. And my partner said, you know what, you just let go. You just go and see what happens, because I know who you are. And so I did. And all of a sudden, this information came to me. And all of a sudden, the lady who I was talking to, her mouth started like dropping open, and she had this inquisitive look on her face. And I'm like thinking inside, oh my God, I got everything wrong. Oh my God, all these fears came up, a real nervousness. And she said, you just told me my whole life story. I can't believe it. And so from then, 2006, my mouth has been dropped open ever since, because I'm just like, I keep kind of like an energy scientist, like searching and seeking and following the energy of the colors. And all of a sudden, it's very seldom, well, really hardly never, that I get something wrong. And then when I get it wrong, it's almost like in the space, the colors are saying, nope, go here, go to this shade. No, you're down a wrong path. And so then I turn, and then all of a sudden something else happens. Sometimes people's energies can be very blocked, and I have to find the entry, find the words to all of a sudden allow them to let go. And then all of a sudden, I just feel it. And all of a sudden I'm in and I'm speaking to it. So let me go back to what a life color is, because that's the question you asked. A life color, I have to go back to talk about a little bit of the electromagnetic activity or energy around ourselves, which is some people call the aura. And we have this amazing energy field around our whole body, and it tells who we are. It picks up information from the environment, even toxins from the environment, but it also puts out who we are to the world. So like a two-way antenna, it brings in a lot of information, even things like negativity. So we need to keep our aura strong. And those of you who have never heard about an aura, well, it is something that if you didn't have your aura, you'd basically be dead. It fills up our body with energy, with spirit, and maybe you can call it spirit, but around ourselves is this amazing bubble that is kind of in the shape of our own body. And some of us have really strong auras, and those are the ones who don't get sick very often. And some of us have a little bit weaker auras, and things from the environment come in, and then we can get sick easily. We could get hurt by negative words. And so doing energy exercises, which is one of my free gifts, I'll give you some energy exercises to strengthen up your aura as well. And it helps go through life and not get so pummeled by the experiences in life. So in our aura is a vibration, and that vibration brings about a color, and that color is your life color. We have in our aura a moment-to-moment aura, a moment-to-moment vibration or color that is giving out information to the world. So that is a color that is constantly changing. If you're really, really happy, your color will be very vibrant, beautiful colors. And if you're really, really sad, it goes down to some darker, grayer colors. And so it's constantly moving. If you wake up in the morning and you say, oh my God, this is such a good day, I'm having a great day. And then you get bad news on the phone, and then your aura comes down. And same things with physical ailments. Perhaps you reach for something and you strain your back, and all day you have this kind of backache that also extends into your aura, and it's very hard to get your energies back to a good feeling in the day. So your life color, you are born with your life color, and you get this amazing vibration and colors inside your 6th field on 7 fields of your aura. So in our aura, we have different fields that connect to different places in our life. One goes straight to our own God, whomever we call our own God, or if we're spiritual. Another one goes to who we are and how we reflect life's happenings. Another one is our perception in life and how we perceive life. Every one of these layers have a different connection and correlation to our life's path. But the life color will stay the same throughout your whole life because it is your own life path. And on your own life path, you get lessons. The colors bring in lessons for your life's journey in this lifetime. And maybe if you believe in reincarnation, in other lifetimes, you would have had other colors. And maybe in the next one, you'll have another color, but you are going to evolve in this lifetime, meeting your challenges, meeting your lessons in order to evolve to the next stage where you are going to be born again into another life color. It's fascinating. It's such a fascinating subject. So that's kind of what a life color is. It's like an energetic fingerprint of who you are.
It is fascinating. It really is. And it's like a soul blueprint, so to speak, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. And you say too that our planet has its own life color, and that also goes through shifts and changes. Could you explain more about that?
Yes. Oh my goodness. It's my favorite subject to talk about. So as we have our own aura around our body, the earth too has an electromagnetic field around it. And I sometimes like to think, in layman terms, they talk about the atmosphere. Sometimes they talk about the atmosphere on our planet, how there's holes in the planet's atmosphere. And in energy medicine, well, when we have holes in our aura, we figure eight them. Figure eighting is one of the most ancient symbols for healing. And when we figure eight them, the holes begin to close up so that there's no like little vortexes coming in and saying, oh my God, whenever that person says something to me, I'm always hurt. And there's a hole there for that to spiral right into your heart. So if you weave up your aura all around, I know it sounds really weird and simple, but my goodness, this is what has helped me so much. And I'm a real sensitive person and I'm an empath, but weaving my aura all the way and also grounding that aura is very important for the times that we are living in right now, which is indigo. So the life color around the planet, that electromagnetic field, the aura around the planet, goes through stages of about 30 years. And in that 30 years, there's a vibration and there's a color that connects to the planet. I must say that a lot of this information is coming down from one of my mother's teachers, who is Nancy Tappy. And she was a woman who was legally blind, but she tasted color. And I always love to say her name because I always love to give credit to the teachers. And of course, then my mother taking her information. So Nancy Tappy now is on the other side. So she does have publications out, but she is on the other side. And I'm always hoping she connects into my life color readings all the time, because she was the one who brought this information. She was also the one who coined the term indigo kids when she started seeing that colors around these children who were being born in the 80s. And now we are here in the place of indigo on the planet. And so going back to the life color on the planet, we go through stages. At the beginning of the century we were in green. This is the 1900s, 10s and 20s, even into the 30s. And this was the place where a lot of people were rich and a lot of people were poor. This is the place of money. It's the place of green. It's the place of power, but it is also the place of land, and earth is the place of green, a different kind of shade. So there were a lot of farmers who built on the land, and you see in that time in history, the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. And it was a place of the lesson coming in. There was power in green, but the lesson coming in was very much about bending the power so that you can connect more to compassion, a little bit more And then we move into the blue time, and the blue time was about the 40s, 50s, and 60s. This was the time of the stay-at-home mom and the husband who went out and worked, and it was the family. It was the family. It was like Happy Days or or Leave It to Beaver. Everything was like simple, and we don't talk about what's really going on underneath the surface. Everything is like a picture perfect Good Housekeeping magazine. Oh, my family is just perfect. And so it is the place, blue is the place of the compassionate mother, the nurturer who caregives all of her children and her family and looks at her life with a little bit of rose-colored glasses and not wanting to see some of the truth that possibly is in her marriage even. I often like to think of some of those men who were married to blues and hiding some of their truths in life, had probably a hard existence because some of them were like I'm always looking at it in pictures of the blue wife and thinking everything's wonderful with my relationship, and we won't talk about my husband who is looking at his best friend with interesting eyes. No, 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 everything's perfect. So blue is all about stepping into your own power as well and saying yes to yourself. So then we come into the women's movement in the 60s, the tail end of the blue. Then we start coming into the 70s, and the 70s is, let me take a drink of water. The 70s, we come into the spiritual enlightenment, where all of a sudden people want to know more about what's going on in this place called life. What is this all about? So you see a lot of people traveling down to India to find gurus, to go into yoga, to find meditation. And in this time, through the 80s, the 90s, the thousands, we are going into the places of technology as well. Technology is risen and born, even though there's this spiritual self-help workshops happening all the time in the 80s. And yet technology also is born. Then we're coming into the indigo. And indigo has only, Violet was there, and Violet is also about letting go. So we were letting go even before coming into the indigo. Between these 30 years, there's about 12 to 15 years of transition time. So those of you who are doing the math, there's transition time. So we are in one color and another color is coming up. And as many people who are experiencing that lesson. So when I talk about life color on the planet, it's about the whole globe going through the same lesson that is the planet has around it. They may be going through their own life color lessons through right now indigo. And that's what it is. It's a global consciousness going through the same lessons, but you're going through it in your own life colors. So it may look a little different, but on the outside, in the globe, in society, you are seeing that color very much so. And so we're in the place of indigo right now. It's a combination of deep blue and deep violet coming together. So it's a very dark color. It's not like the indigo that sometimes people say in blue jeans. It's deep and dark, and it's very connected to the spiritual, but very much on the it brings up a lot. It brings up the polarities of light and dark, masculine and feminine, this world and that world. And it's one of the reasons why with indigo, there is a lot of people coming forth and realizing, oh my goodness, there's something more than the reality of life. I'm feeling like I'm getting hits on what's going on in the consciousness. So a lot of people are becoming psychic, and indigo is a very psychic energy, and it is about this world and that world. And a lot of people, now we're in October and the time where the veils between the worlds are a little bit thinner, and really feeling it this year. I am. But that indigo, when I was having my near-death experiences in the violet age, I started feeling indigo coming so close. And before this, in the last 15 years, even before COVID, there were a lot of people who were crossing over to the other side. And I believe that there is kind of, in my belief system, in my terms, needing to find a balance of this world and that world. And I believe a lot of people are moving over, especially quicker now in the indigo age, because it's a quick moving energy. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, we're in October. What happened to this year? And the years are speeding up because indigo is quick. So when you are trying to do your manifesting, oh my goodness, manifesting comes a lot quicker because it is within this energy of the indigo as well. But in this time where a lot of people are crossing over, I believe that it is about sometimes even choosing souls that need to be on the other side in order for us to be helped. All of a sudden, they're like warriors on the other side going, oh my goodness, planet Earth needs help. Humanity needs help. And I keep seeing these visions of a lot of my friends that have crossed over in the last few years and going, wow, they shouldn't have crossed over. Okay, what's going on? Oh my goodness, they're just like leading this like almost a healing brigade on the other side in order for us to evolve. The ones who are staying, and that's the hardest thing, the ones who are staying, losing our loved ones, but they are having this amazing job, much more than they ever did in real life sometimes, when they couldn't quite move into something that they knew they really needed to do, but there was such a block in their life from allowing it, whether it's rising up from depression or really conquering their illness or whatever it was, breaking through a relationship and continuing the relationship patterns. It is right now, and indigo is really facing what is going on in the way of, do you like your life right now? How do you want it to be different? It is about truth and transparency coming up full measure, saying, okay, what is your truth? I know you have your truth inside, but are you even putting it forward in order to make that relationship perfect like you want it to be? Or do you need to break away from this relationship in order to find what you need to go towards? And it, for some life colors, it's very difficult. As blue, it's a very difficult thing. But as for indigos are all about seeking truth. And one of the things about indigos and the energy on the planet, sometimes that seeking of truth comes into the place of getting really mad. There's a feeling of anger that comes up in indigo, of frustration. And when that happens, it's just like, oh my gosh, I have to do something right now, and it has to be quick, and it's pretty explosive sometimes with some of that indigo energy, and it is all about balance. But the biggest lesson in indigo right now is patience, and I think it's gonna piss a lot of people off. It's just like really difficult to stay in the place of waiting and patience and trying to come over the hump of what this is all about and what COVID is offering us, and coming back to a right place in your job, in your finances, in your lifestyle. Patience is a hard one for many, but if you can stay there, it is an amazing place. Like the ancients say, one of the things that I always think about, the ancients always say that the unknown, the blackness, the darkness, the place where you don't want to go because it's so, you don't know what's coming next. The unknown is the mystery. And that's the greatest place to be, because in that place, if you can be in the place of pause, in the place of patience, in the place of just letting go in order to see what is needed and how to step forward, then that's the greatest place to be, because you don't get many of these moments. And we as humans go to those moments and go, oh my God, this is not feeling good. I need to be doing something. I need to know my path, my purpose, which is also a big one here in the indigo. A lot of people wanting to know their purpose, and that shows up with life colors too in a big way. So it's a wonderful thing that I love to do in order to help people find out their life colors, in order to know what their purpose is and what they need to be doing. And if that 9-to-5 job is really, which they already know, really not working for them, and they need to go to something like healing, or something in the esoteric realm that is calling to them. It's a wonderful job. I love it so much. And but as I told you before, I think it really called to me to really step up and speak, because what I want to tell you is, in the very beginning, when Nancy Tappy was telling my mother, she used to have these small classes in San Diego, California, and for small groups of people, and they all were wanting to know about these colors. And she would talk to them late in the night, and everybody was so excited. And my mother, who sees energy, she was one of her teachers, because she didn't know what she was seeing around people, all these colors. And so she went to this woman named Nancy Tappy and learned that they are these life colors in the auric field. Well, Nancy only had about 12 to 13 colors and didn't go past that. And in 2006, at this one workshop, my mother couldn't deny that she was getting something different than just blue. Oh my goodness, this person is turquoise. This person is cobalt blue. This person is light blue, and on and on and on through every shade. So people were getting in their books, because she signs books, they would get their life color, and they were fascinated, but nowhere to go for these weird, obscure colors. And then all of a sudden, that's when it just opened up for me. And in the beginning, I didn't know how it was coming in. And sometimes I think it's the children who weren't born into my life, the little spirit babies that are within my aura, that were constantly telling me, because I couldn't quite tell. I mean, I knew it was from a higher source, but there was something more. What was going on, and why did I get this information? And I always feel like maybe it was those spirit babies who were older than me, who had these old souls that really weren't ready to come into this existence, but could help me in a different way on the other side. So yeah, one of the things I want to say, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, Michelle, but I do want to say that first story of letting go, with my near-death experience, I did get my greatest wish in life. And that's what I want to tell you all, which is my son. He's adopted, and he is the most amazing miracle. And I could not have asked for that, because adoption in my world, loved it for everybody else, but it was a closed door. And I really had to work with it to open that door, and then realized it wasn't my story of why it was a closed door. And that's another story, but working on yourself in order to break through your challenges, in order to open up to the place of letting go. That's where miracles happen, and that's where magic happens. And so I received my child, and nobody, if they didn't know he was adopted, could even begin to imagine that he wasn't my kid. He came out with blonde curly hair, and his bio mother and bio father, the bio mother had black straight hair, and the father had almost reddish brown straight hair, and he had blonde curly hair, and he is just the epitome of who I am. It's just amazing. I think energy works in so many ways, and I want somebody to do a study on adopted children and how they are so bonded in a different way with their adopted parents, because it's fascinating to me, and I don't know what that is, but sometimes well, every adopted parent says, oh my God, I know that this child is supposed to be my child. You know, even though it didn't come out of my own body, there was a spiritual divine plan that made us come together. And that was part of that journey of letting go too. Okay, I'm going to stop for there now.
Well, it's so fun to hear you share, and I know I've been experiencing waves of goosebumps, and just, you know, can imagine what our viewers are experiencing within themselves in your presence. And so yeah, it's, you know, I feel like what you shared really provides perspective and understanding and clarity, and also a sense of liberation, you know, that, oh, okay, you know, I'm not in this alone, even though, you know, I have my own personal lessons, but it's also on this collective level that we also are navigating together. And that's why I feel too, like this event, I felt called and inspired to follow, you know, this impulse to launch, because, you know, it's this collaborative, you know, energetic, you know, multiple energies coming together, souls, maybe our soul agreements to do this all together. But yeah, I was kind of curious too, you know, there's been talk about soul families. Is it the same with soul, I guess, colors and life colors?
I would think so. You know, with life colors, you can have a group soul. So people coming together on a certain topic together, create vibration, create their own life color. Towns can have life colors, villages, states, countries have life colors. So in the individual realm of the world, we have individual colors that sit in different places in the world, going through their own life colors too. It goes very deep, but I do think that within the family, the soul family, they do have their own life color too. It's pretty amazing and profound when you go deeper and deeper into it. I do want to say something about my near-death experience, only
Absolutely.
because just to let you all know what it was. So in 2009, I was trying to get pregnant. I was trying to get pregnant for 17 years before that. It was just crazy. About 15 years before that, always trying all sorts of different things, and always believing I was going to have a child. That belief never stopped. If you have a desire and a wish to make something come true, never give up on that belief, that desire, that knowing inside of yourself, because that knowing, you trust. You need to trust. That letting go is about trusting that this is going to happen in one way or another. So I never let go of the possibility that I would be a mother. I never knew it was going to be through adoption at all. But in 2009, my sister told me that she was pregnant on my birthday, our birthday. We have the same birthday, 3 years apart. Really crazy magic happening there with my mom and dad. But she told me, and I kind of freaked out because I was planning for pregnancy for such a long time. And my sister, like always happens, you know, someone who isn't really working on something, all of a sudden it just, blah, 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 it just happens, because it is part of those lessons that come through. And sometimes when you're holding on too much, it doesn't happen. So she got pregnant the first time with her best friend, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be turning 40. Maybe I should have a child. And so that's what happened. And I freaked out. Freaking out brought me to the point of taking fertility drugs, doing injections, IVF. And that sent me over the edge. And I should have never done it because I have been raised in energy, never hardly even taking an aspirin, only doing energy exercises, connecting into the body, empowering myself to know where I am at any given time. So I should have never done something so toxic in my body. And it sent me over the edge. And it was, I basically OD'd on estrogen. I was very much an estrogenized woman, OD'd on estrogen, and I got blood clots through my whole entire body. That means both arms, both legs, 5 passed through my heart and 5 passed through my lungs. And why I'm saying this today is because I know a lot of people, even friends I know, are getting blood clots from some of the vaccinations. So, it's all individual, but so I just want to tell people, I was put on a lot of blood thinners in the hospital because I was basically stiff, one big blood clot, and they had to pump my body, and the doctor said I wasn't going to make it through the night. And we had somebody come to us that said, hey, there is something, an herb that you can take for blood clots that will dissolve the blood clots. And so I started taking it without my doctor's orders, because they said, oh my goodness, you're going to kill yourself if you take that. So we did it under the table with blood thinners. And don't do this at home unless you are under the protection of an energy medicine practitioner, because we tested both blood thinners and something called nattokinase. Nattokinase is the herb. And what happened in 2 weeks? Nattokinase dissolved all my blood clots. And I went back to the hospital and I said, check me. They said, no way. No way. And I said, I'm not leaving here till you check me. And they did. And that hospital is now studying nattokinase when they said, no way can that herb do something like this. So that hospital, which is amazing, is also studying nattokinase. So anybody, blood thinners are something to poison rats. That's how they were made. And there's so many other stories there, but I wanted to say that. But in 2009, so I got better a little bit. For 3 years, I never really got my strength back. I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't go up to my house at 8,000 feet, never really getting all my health back. And then 2012, I went back in, being airlifted again from my mountain to the hospital, and I was getting blood clots again, and a whole bunch of other things. And the doctors came to tell me, you need to let go of your uterus. And that was death to me, because I knew I wouldn't be able to have a child. And I had been saving that for about 3 years when they told me prior, you're not taking it. I'm going to lose all my femininity. Everything's going to go out the window. Well, in that moment, because my whole family was saying, Tanya, you're going to die. Do you get it? You're going to die. You have to do something like this, drastic. And then I realized that I kept telling people in my life color readings, which was in the place of violet, and violet is still in indigo, violet and blue. So it's still in indigo, of letting go. Keep letting go. Find out where you're holding on to control and let go. And I couldn't see it. Everybody else could see it in me. Oh my God, she keeps going with pregnancy. And I couldn't see it until that moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to let go. But I had to also find something to live for, because that was going too. I was like, if I don't have a child, I can't live. That this is my greatest desire in life. So I had to find something. It wasn't this earth which I love so much. It wasn't my mom who I love so much, my partner, but it was my sister's son that she bore 3 years earlier. And if he hadn't been born 3 years earlier, I wouldn't be here, because then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to live for my nephew. Of course I do. I'm a different energy than my sister. I have to live for him. So it's amazing how life keeps going, and all of a sudden something that you couldn't see 3 years, 5 years, 10 years before, all of a sudden you're seeing it with different eyes and realizing that this had to be in order for you to do something, step out in the world, or live. And so that's what happened. And so I just wanted to let you know a little bit more into that amazing place that allowed magic to come into my world. And when my son came into the world, oh my gosh, it was the most magical journey I've ever experienced in my whole entire life. And I'm all about magic. and he was amazingly synchronistic all the way through. And he's amazing. He's a rainbow kid. So he's rainbow, and his cousin, who he calls his brother, my sister's son, is an opalescent. So these are the new kids that are being born. There's one more that it's like a group soul that is coming in and being born on the planet, are these new kids that are coming in. And it's wonderful because they're bringing unconditional love for the planet and really coming into mothers and fathers in difficult, challenging situations. And these amazing little angels are coming in, bringing energy to allow them to shift and change and evolve. And even the grandparents and future and past generations and future generations, that's possibly, don't know, but that might be the next age after indigo, which would be amazing because there's so many different colors. In rainbow, there's all these vibrant, beautiful, vibrant purple, vibrant pink, vibrant yellow. And in opalescent, they're all pastel colors. And it's what Doreen Virtue used to say was crystal children. Nancy Tappy there has been crystal since the beginning of time, crystals, but opalescent is really what is, Doreen Virtue said the same thing, these pastel colors around children. So she started naming them crystal children, but we're calling them opalescent, not to be confused with crystals, who have always been born since the beginning of time, almost like the earlier aspects of indigos were the crystals. And I could keep going on and on and on, Michelle, about all of this, but it's so exciting to know that the new generation after indigos, and indigos are the ones who are putting their ideas into the world, amazing ideas that are coming into the world for the good. I really believe that there is so much good that is going to be happening despite all the challenges. This is the transition. This is the renaissance that we are going through, the shakeup, the chaos, in order to get to that next place where there is this bursting forth of love, this age of Aquarius, as some call it, this place of really coming together in compassion. And blue is part of that indigo of letting go, and blue is compassion for all. And that's part of indigo too. So I'm super excited about it all, even though it's scary at times.
Wow. Well, and thank you for sharing your story. And it's so moving to hear you share, and also helps those who maybe are experiencing certain challenges, whether it's with fertility or, just in life right now with COVID. It's, what's happening in the world today, personally and professionally, however that might be for individuals. But to know that your experience and the 3 years later, of something that was so traumatic and challenging was actually like the driver, the spirit, the fire, the power that helped you move forward in your life, and was actually the greatest gift. So, and I think that's so important to highlight right now, and would totally love to hear more about all the magic happening with your son and your experiences of, these different colors with children. It's quite fascinating, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners too are resonating and like, oh my gosh, that's what's happening. This all makes sense. I get it now. So we so appreciate it. And
you're so welcome. Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about that experience or anything that comes to mind?
No, but I would love to share, an exercise with your listeners before I tell you about my free gift. One of the things that I usually do when I'm feeling forlorn and don't know if what's going to happen, if we're in the mystery of the unknown and feeling so forlorn, and also if you are being persuaded by all the emotions in the globe, that these emotions might not be yours. If you're experiencing, you wake up one morning and you're feeling just super griefful, just really sad, or really just angry, they might not be yours, but you might be just a sensitive or an empath picking up on the global energies. And so sometimes what's really good is a really, really simple exercise is just rubbing your hands together and blowing out, breathing, and just placing your hands on your heart. The easiest thing to do, and even bringing kind of like a press on your heart. So you bring in a little bit of a protection, and it's almost like coming home to yourself and just realizing, this is me. I'm feeling my skin. I'm here. I'm feeling and hearing my heartbeat. But in this space right here, this is what a lot of ancients call the heart chakra, is right here. And this is the place where we take in love, but we also give out love as well. And it can be a place where it can really not have a lot of boundaries for some of us, especially with certain life colors. But coming home here, this is a place where the ancients used to call, this is called heaven rushing in, and just pressing into this point and just closing your eyes and saying, I am here, I am okay. Even feeling your feet on the earth, grounding into the earth, and just letting go and just breathing in and breathing out into this space is an amazing place to just trust, be in the place of trust that everything's going to be okay. Yes.
So wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Can feel that already. So, I do have kind of a random question, and this just popped up, but just curious what it was like having Donna Eden as your mom growing up.
Oh, well, we didn't think that she was Donna Eden, but she was just our mom.
Yeah.
Well, growing up with my mother's energies, now my father's energies were quite different. So imagine when we were growing up, so me and my sister in the 70s, growing up in the 70s, he was kind of like so it was in San Diego, California. He was kind of like a rat pack playboy. So he was this suave, debonair kind of guy. And all of his family was from Chicago, and they were in the mafia. So this kind of energy was very different. It's all about reality and money and, who's going to rub my back so I can rub their back, and who's going to, looking out for who's going to get me. That kind of energy was where my father came from. My mother, on the other hand, she was a little country bumpkin, and she was having this family who was all about herbs and supplements and really opening up to the other side a little bit more. So these two get together, and there's this a polarity in their relationship coming down to my sister and I. So with my mother, it was like growing up with a little bit of a hippie with money. and so we had this kind of open kind of quality to the other side and working with energy. My mother came into her work when in the 70s, in the late 70s. And so in our early years, it was all about, she always allowed me and questioned me, because I would always I would see fairies. I would talk to fairies. That was my life when I was little. I didn't have a lot of friends. And so she would always keep that up with me, keep talking about what I was seeing. And then when Dad came home, it was like a whole different world. It was like, okay, TV goes on, and it was all about reality. But in her world, it was all about opening up the imagination and finding out who we were as individual little girls. And then later on, when we were getting into adolescence, that's when her work really started taking hold, and she was able to guide us through adolescence, through our teenage years with energy medicine. I even asked her, I was on the drill team for 1 year of my life in the very early years of high school, and I wanted to get the splits. So I was, just a teenager. I just really wanted to get the splits for competitions. So she showed me the points to do on my legs, and in 1 week I got the splits in both ways. And those were the kinds of things that it was like really cool, or knowing about what was going on. But in school, because I was so shy and didn't have any friends, I had to really hide even things in my lunchbox, like Bach flower remedies. We were some of the early guinea pigs as children for Bach flower remedies, and they were in our lunchbox, but we didn't want to stand out or be different because the school was such a harsh place for me to be, because it shut down a lot of my imagination and freedom. And so I started just following their rules. And so me working with energy medicine for kids is all about helping children continue to be in their empowerment and step into that place of knowing what they need at all given moments, but also feeling another person's energy and knowing, oh my goodness, okay, let me find my boundaries here so I don't take them on, but have compassion for that other person and what they're going through, but not take it on so much. So many things goes into energy medicine for kids, but most of it is from my growing up and needing to protect myself in a real harsh world and in my youth. So, but it was wonderful to have Mom. Oh my goodness, it was wonderful. And then later on, knowing, even as an early child and seeing people gravitate to our mother, and always our childhood friends gravitated to her. So it was hard to find our moms sometimes because they were always hanging around the house. And then later in my teenage years, having people come thousands of miles and knock on the door at 1 a.m. in the morning. And I open the door, and I'm a teenager and I'm a little bit in my teenager role. And I open the door and they're like, I have to find this woman. Someone told me about this woman, Donna Eden. And this was before the book came out. And I have to find her. And me as a teenager, slam the door in their face and go, get away. She's our mother. Just go away. And later on, realizing that this was her role in life. This was her purpose. What she wanted to share with the world was energy medicine. And so knowing that this was her greatest gift. And so stepping aside and finding myself in the work, which I never thought I would do, because as a teenager, I said, not going there, not going there. And then finding myself in the work because it was the perfect place for me to be, knowing I have these abilities, because I'm going down from a third generational healer, and maybe even before that, but it was a different time at that time of my great grandmother. But accepting these gifts. And I think everybody has these gifts. Just like my mother says, we all have these gifts, but they go dormant because of responsibilities in life. We grow up and we see the world, and this is what we need to do. And we need to earn a wage in order to pay our rent and all these responsibilities in reality, and we block off the senses, and we feel, we see, we taste, we hear. All of these senses are available to us, and one or the another can be even stronger in some of us. For instance, I hear and I feel. I don't see the colors. My mother sees the color and she feels. And so it's an interesting way diving into that area of just really opening up and understanding energy, because we do it all in different ways. That was such a long answer, Michelle. There you go.
Oh, I think it was wonderful, beautiful, and yeah, it's actually really cool to hear, and it's no surprise that you live, breathe, are totally immersed in energy medicine and are so brilliant at what you do and your contribution, to the world through your life experiences. So it's really cool to hear what it was like for you growing up in that environment, because so many people don't have access to that or aren't introduced to that. So knowing that from an early age, it was normal for you. It wasn't a thing really. And but to be able also to navigate where it wasn't, considered maybe normal in schools and stuff, and those challenges for people who are maybe wanting to introduce their children now to that kind of environment and learning. And I know too, you're passionate about working with children, and understanding their life colors can also help them with learning and growing and navigating their own, personal challenges. So it's really important. And I know if there's anything you wanted to share about your work, your programs that you're, cultivating now that you'd like to share with everybody.
Sure. I would love to share this because I'm so excited. If you get on my newsletter, please get on my newsletter, because you'll find out about so many different areas about energy medicine and energy medicine for kids, life colors, and even energy medicine dance, which I'm the creator of. But for in the beginning of this next year, 2022, I am bringing out Energy Medicine for Kids online program for families. And you can even use this as a 3-week homeschooling program of learning about energy and working with your family and knowing about each other's energy in the families to create a better harmony within the family and within empowering children in their own gifts. And so I have that coming out with my mother's work, Energy Medicine, and hers is the EdenMethod.com. So that's going to be happening. So get on my newsletter. But I want to give your listeners 2 free gifts. Well, one of them is free and one of them is a discount. So I want to give all the listeners here a discount on my life color readings. If you are interested in this, I'm giving $50 off. And that is, if you go on my site, Energy Medicine Woman, and find the life color area, you put in, if you want a session, $50 savings, $50 spelled out, savings, $50 savings, and you will get that $50 savings and get a session with me. They're so fascinating. They're 2 hours long. You get it recorded. You get a lot of individual energy exercises for yourself. If you have a debilitating illness, tell me about it and we'll go deeper into that and know how it connects to the life color. If you want to know about more of your path, your purpose in life, connections with your family, your relationship, goes everywhere. So that is also there. And then my free gift is a little routine about making miracles happen. And it is a routine that it was inspired to create from all of my mother's work, to create this little routine. It's less than 5 minutes that you can do in order to step into that possibility, those possibilities of magic. And so there's my free gift.
Woo! We are so lucky. Oh my goodness. Wow. This has been so inspiring and enriching. And seriously, so many times throughout this event, I just keep saying, thank you. Thank you. Is this really happening? This is so amazing.
Yes,
this is certainly one of those moments. And just really appreciate you being here and saying yes to this event, and for all of us. This has been a wonderful opportunity and just so enriching. Really appreciate you sharing your energy and information with us. It's been a true joy.
Yes, you're so welcome, Michelle. So happy to be a part of this summit. And yes, thank you so much.